Woods. I live at 325 West 16th Street. I'm also the owner of Nature's Medicine Wellness Center in Salida. There's a few things I wanted to talk about. The special election, we're seeing quite a bit of differing opinions on whether we should have this election or not, and I can see the importance to try to figure out what we all need to do to work together on this issue. I'm brought back to the fact that the town, I'm not exactly sure when the original zoning came for dispensaries in the town. I didn't really do that research. It had to be in '09 or prior. But then in the end of '09, we rezoned out of the historic downtown and just kept it in C1. And I would have thought that at that time, if there was a huge public outcry against this, having these businesses, legal businesses in our town, we would have heard quite a bit about it then and probably not zoned them in. That being said, we still have 1284 to contend with, which gives the council once again the option to have a special election, decide on their own what to do, or just to stick with state law. So now we're left with the importance of the special election. I can understand that. The council has expressed their concern for the importance of the special election. Can't figure out why we didn't get it on the November ballot. We had all the information prior to that deadline, the ballot deadline. The county clerk, I spoke with her, and she sent out 30-day notice for the ballot deadline to make everybody aware that it was coming up. And so we all had fair warning that that was coming up, and this issue being as important to the council as it is, I'm just trying to figure out why we just didn't get it on there. I was at the meeting about a week after the deadline where we decided that we needed to pursue that, but it was too late. So thereby the importance of this all, I'm trying to figure out why it wasn't important back then, but it's important now, and it's going to cost us this $7,000 to $10,000 for a special election. From looking at the SalidaCitizen.com website, which is a very informative website, nice online newspaper, they have a current poll about this issue, and I looked at the results of the poll right before I came over here at 5:45. The poll asked, what actions should the Salida City Council take with respect to medical marijuana dispensaries? 1, allow; 2, ban; 3, special election. So the results, as of 5:45 this evening, we have 91% of the voters say just to allow dispensaries. 8% of the voters say to ban dispensaries. And 1% of the voters say to have a special election. So I think, although that poll only entails 76 voters, it's got a pretty good base, I think, for people, how they feel. So is that the ultimate answer? I don't know. But anyway, just that information is out there for us. The other thing that really concerns me about this special election thing is if we were to vote on this evening, it's a package deal. It's the ballot question. Of course, the date gives us our 90 days. But the ballot question, to me, is the real problem, because council's concern is that if we do put this to the voters, it's so that we get a fair vote from the people of what they really want. What the attorneys offered is a single opt-out, single question opt-out, which is called a SKU. It's a question, a single question ballot issue that tries to solve more than one issue. What we have here is more than one issue, and the last thing we want is a SKU, a single question opt-out from the council, because that doesn't really let the voters decide. And if you guys really want the voters to decide, then we really need to have at least 2 ballot questions. One should be like the city of Paonia did. I know he offered you advice on the city of Aurora. The city of Paonia had one question: would you allow medical marijuana centers in the city limits? Yes or no? And these are regulated medical marijuana centers licensed by the state, yes or no? And then the second question was, would you allow the OPCL, the optional premises grow license, or the MIP, the manufacturing of infused products, because both of those licenses entail grow facilities, commercial grow facilities. So I think if we really want to know what the voters want to do, we ought to give them a choice of, do they want to have the centers within their city limits, and then give them another choice of, do we want to have the commercial grow facilities in the city limits as well. In my opinion, if we really want to be fair and democratic about this, let's make this into two issues, not just one. To me, that's only fair. There's a lot of people out there, like myself, I've told you guys before, looking around Salida, I don't really see that we have great areas for commercial growing within the city limits. And that concerns me. So, I think that there's a lot of people like myself that are not opposed to having these medical marijuana centers licensed, heavily regulated by the state. We're paying through the nose for this. We're creating jobs, bringing tax money to the town. We've got spaces leased out that weren't leased out for a long time. Tenderfoot's place was empty. Our place was Sunflower Insurance. When Sunflower Bank closed down, Sunflower Insurance moved out, our place sat empty until we moved in. Those landlords need that revenue too. So I think there's a lot of people that aren't opposed to having centers within the city limits, but aren't necessarily for having growth in the city limits. So I really think this single question opt-out is not a good idea. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. White.